Hey everyone, this is Nintendo Act 8 here, and it has been quite some time since my last discussion on anything on this channel. And of course, if you follow me on Twitter, or by the videos I've probably uploaded, you'll probably know the reason why is because I've been building my computer, or at least attempting to build it, because Micro Center kept saying on their website, your motherboard's not in stock. And yeah, long story short, it's finally built, and I have the entire vlog that's probably like over an hour long, to be honest, so I'll probably split up into part 2 and 3 and not just keep it as one part, but I don't really know. Oh, the point is I'll have the entire vlog, building process, setup, benchmarks, all that stuff uploaded at some point, hopefully by the end. Well, point is I'll have that uploaded at a later date, but of course E3 ended a few weeks ago, and I think it's about time I talk about it. Now, I'm not going to talk about everything in it, because of course that's not really worth my time, because why talk about stuff you don't care about? So let's just talk about the big three, what they announced, and what I actually care about they announced. First, let's get the big one out of the way, Nintendo, or at least the surprising big announcement, because I thought that Nintendo, back in April when they announced, oh, it's just going to be Zelda or whatever, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be worse than their last Direct, which was abysmal. Their 2015 one, that one was complete garbage. Well, I guess it's kind of obvious, but it's like, I tried to defend it at first, it's not that bad, but then every time I rewatch it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty bad. There was only one good game, Star Fox, which didn't end up turning out that good, if review scores and sales have anything to talk about it. So, rip anything on Star Fox when it comes to the NX. Okay, whatever. Okay, enough talking about Star Fox. Back to E3. So, of course, the only thing I expected Nintendo to show off was Zelda, because that's all they said they were going to show off, was Zelda. But what surprised me is how amazing Zelda looks. When Reggie was, coming on, he's like, Orlando, whatever. Just a minor complaint. I know I'm going to get dislikes for saying this, I'm going to sound insensitive, but I'm sorry, but I just have to bring it out. I am sick and tired of everyone talking about the Orlando thing. Whoopity-doo. It happened. Can we get over it? I watched all of them. EA, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, Ubisoft? Did I say Ubisoft? Wait. I watched every single conference. And every single one of them, the first 5 minutes was, we want to pay respects to I get it, but this is about games. I'm sorry if I sound insensitive by saying that, but I don't, yeah, I know, I can already see the troll comments and dislikes from here, but I don't give a damn about the Orlando thing, and I think, I'm not saying it was a good thing, it obviously wasn't. 50-something people got killed, and then, of course, the fact that it was a gay club or something like that just made the controversy go out the window. But my point is that don't spend 5 minutes of every single press conference talking about it. E3 is about games. Okay, mini rant over. Sorry if I sound insensitive once again, but I just have to say that, because that got really annoying after a while, constantly waiting 5 minutes for the event. Because for starters, EA's press conference, that took over 10 minutes to start. Same for Xbox, that took another 10 minutes as well, because apparently they delayed it for some reason. Even when it comes on, we have to spend 5 minutes to pay respects to Orlando. Yeah, I know, I'm already seeing the comments from here and the dislikes, but whoopity-doo. I'm just gonna say it right now, because that's honestly how I feel. That got really annoying really quick. Anyways, now that I've basically made everyone think I'm an insensitive jerk, okay, anyways, yeah, let's talk about games. So, yeah, Nintendo, Zelda Wii U, or as it's called now, Zelda Breath of the Wild. I almost said Wind. I'm so tempted to say Wind. I'm just sorry, but that's just what it feels like. It feels like I'm trying to say Wind, but I know it's Wild. Point is, Zelda Breath of the Wild, they showed that 2-minute trailer that looked amazing. How good did it look? I had to remind myself that was the Wii U version. The version that's running on 10-year-old hardware at this point? Well, it's pretty much 10-year-old hardware. The Wii U is basically just a slightly upgraded Xbox 360, so yeah, it's 10-year-old hardware. And the game looked pretty good. That grass looked nice, the bloom effect looked nice. It all looks just really nice. So of course, I had to remind myself, if the Wii U version looks this good, then, oh my god, I can't wait to see what the NX version looks like. It's gonna be freaking Unreal Engine 4 or something like that. It's gonna look even better, yeah. But of course, I don't want to hype up the NX version like it's that much better. I mean, according to Aonuma himself, the only thing that's going to be a difference between the Xbox... I mean, not Xbox. We're not at the Xbox section yet, although there's Halo 5 gameplay in the background, but whatever. But, but yeah, point is, yeah, Zelda Wii U, now known as Breath of the Wild, looked amazing. Just makes me wonder what they're going to show off on NX. Now, I didn't watch the entire, 6-8 hour stream, of course, but I watched, the first 2 or 3 hours. And there is a lot you can do in that game. It's very open world. I know it was no, it's open air, not open world, but I'm going to say it's open world, and I know I can already see that it's Elder Scrolls 6 Skyrim, or I've seen that thrown the Elder Scrolls 6 Skyrim only coming exclusively to Wii U and NX. I remember back when it was revealed in 2014, that original trailer. Yeah, where he was like, if you really want to, you can walk you can walk into those mountains if you walk far enough, or something like that. Yeah, that did you see that part in the trailer where he was climbing up that giant chasm? Did you see that? Man, Zelda looks good, which is surprising because even though I've been super hyped for Zelda, Zelda's hype died for me almost the second at the end that they announced that was going to be the only game. Because that's awesome they were showing off Zelda, I didn't want just Zelda. That was not enough. But surprisingly, it was. Yeah, it blew my mind too. I thought there was no way Nintendo was going to get anywhere good with just showing off Zelda. No matter how good Zelda is, that could not be enough. But apparently it was, and the game paid off. Because, number one, it was my favorite game of the whole show, which is a surprise. Because I'm going to talk about what happened at Sony's conference that disappointed me. And it's just... yeah. Okay, I think there was some kind of analytic thing on Twitter when apparently Zelda had the most trends. Zelda was the biggest trending game for E3 on Twitter and social media in general. And it's that shows the power of not only Nintendo games in general when they're good and they're not shovelware or Amiibo Festival or whatever. When they're good games that people are legitimately excited for, that's the power of a loyal IP. That's the power of an IP that's been around for 30 years. And after seeing that gameplay, you can't say that Zelda doesn't look good. It's going back to the conventions of Zelda. That whole thing Aonuma, we're going back to the conventions of Zelda. We're going back to Zelda 1. I've never played Zelda 1, but even I can tell that is supposed to be Zelda 1. It's like a 3D remake of Zelda 1, but better. It's weird. Point is, Zelda looks amazing. But of course, Zelda was not the only thing at E3 for Nintendo. It was supposed to be the only thing, but they had a few surprises. Most of the games they talked about, including the new Ever Oasis, I didn't really care about that. Rhythm Heaven, I didn't really care about that. Mario Party, didn't really care about that. I didn't care that much about Paper Mario, and that's not because I'm on the hate train. It's oh, it's Sticker Star, it's garbage. No, it's because, actually, surprisingly, it was kind of my own realization, where I'm oh, it can't be as bad. It's not that bad. I watched the gameplay, and it doesn't look bad. It looks amazing. The graphics are amazing and everything, but yeah, it's pretty much Sticker Star. But with paint, which I don't really mind all that much because I actually liked Sticker Star. It's my least favorite of the series, of course, but I thought it was a decent game, and I'll totally buy a Color Splash. It's not day and watch. Once it goes once it gets a decent discount, then I'll buy it. I'm not gonna buy it day one. That game is not worth $60. That's a $30 3DS title. Coincidence, huh? Because it was Sticker Star or whatever. But yeah, I didn't even care that much about Pokemon. That's solely because I can't stand the 3DS anymore because the resolution is so low that it bothers me. Unless you turn on the 3D feature, but then the problem is even with the new 3DS, using the 3D feature is a little annoying for me. So it's kind of yeah, the 3DS is kind of the 3DS I think is too dated for me. It's runs at 240p, the graphics are blocky. It's probably just because I'm, especially with me starting to build a computer and everything, I'm kind of starting to become a graphics whore and stuff like that. Where it's the graphics. Although I can play old N64 games like Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64, and the graphics don't bother me at all. I think it's because the whole nostalgia thing, so you're used to it. So certain old games don't bother me, but the only game on the 3DS that I think looks good is Smash. Yokai Watch and Pokemon also look pretty good, although. You know what's funny? I had this little comparison thingy. If you want a legitimate way to compare, Pokemon Yokai Watch that actually isn't completely garbage. Like, a real, honest comparison. Compare the graphics. Like, here's how I think of it. Pokemon looks like a PlayStation 1 game. Yokai Watch looks like an N64 game. Which I know might sound weird, but, like, okay. PlayStation 1 is, like, it's more like pixely, if that makes any sense. Most PS1 games ran at lower resolutions than N64 games, I think. Well, which, of course, I guess makes sense, because the PS1 was technically weaker than the N64. But, of course, it had the CDs, which is the reason why it won that generation, or at least one of the big reasons. Okay, well, yeah, I'm already probably inciting fanboy comments, so I'm going to stop that. Point is, Pokemon, like, at least 6th gen. Like, we haven't played 7th gen. I haven't played 7th gen, of course. There's no demo or anything. But 6th gen, like, ORAS, compared to Yokai Watch, any of the Yokai Watch games, they all have the same graphics, basically. Pokemon's a little more pixely, like it looks more pixely, but Yokai Watch looks more smooth, if that makes any sense. That's why I'm like, well, it's like, Yokai Watch is like an N64 game in terms of its graphics, whereas Pokemon's only like a PS1 game. Whatever. Back to E3. Let's actually talk about, Pokemon, they had the new Battle Royale mode and stuff like that. Looked interesting, but it's a 3DS game. The resolution's too low for me. I'm probably not going to play it all. Like, if I do get that game, like, I was thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to totally get that game. But if the resolution bothers me that much, and I don't have anyone... Like, see, here's the thing. I can get past the resolution if I actually had someone to play with, but a Pokemon game by yourself is not that fun for me. Back in, like, back in the DS days, like, with Heart Gold and Soul Silver was probably my peak of Pokemon, while I would play with my brother all the time in matches and stuff like that, and that was a lot of fun. But he hates the new Pokemon style. He doesn't like how it's 3D at all. He wants it to be sprite-based again, so he's not going to play the newer ones, especially not Sun and Moon, because it's even more 3D than the 6th gen games. So yeah, there's kind of no point for me to getting Sun and Moon except for just beating the single player, which I could probably do in a day, because Pokemon games are too easy nowadays, which I hate. They need to make them harder again, so you can't beat them in one day. Okay, mini rant over. Let's talk about Yokai Watch, which was actually the most disappointing thing of the entire E3 event. Like, not just Nintendo's, like, overall. It was even more disappointing than Sony's for me. Because with Yokai Watch 2, they didn't even show anything. Okay, they basically they showed off an English version of the original Japanese trailer. Like, you know, that that song, that like, you know, that song? Like, they showed that trailer in English with English gameplay, but the Treehouse stream was entirely Japanese, and I have no idea why. Now, if I didn't know the game at all, then that probably would have been more interested. But remember, I already have both Ganso and Honkai in Japanese, so there was no reason for me to sit there and watch a 30-hour gameplay video on a segment I've already played in the game. And it wasn't like the English version; it was just the Japanese version. They had an English trailer with English gameplay, but the version that they actually played on the show floor was the Japanese version. I don't know why. So that was a huge disappointment. They didn't show off anything really new except for that 2-minute trailer. Oh, and don't even get me started on the logos. Oh my god, the logo. Now, of course, I knew from a fact that, like, even back, like, before, like, the game was even officially announced, I was like, there's no way it's going to stay Ganso and Honkai. Up until the point where I saw that they kept Ganso and Honkai in Wibble Wobble, which is the English version of Puni Puni for someone that doesn't know for some reason. And for some reason, they kept that in. But the game isn't the same. So it's like, what's about the consistency? Either call it Ganso and Honkai, or keep it Bony Spirits and Fleshy Souls or whatever, which I still don't really like the names all that much, because they sound really weird in more ways than one. I've seen all the jokes like, hey mom, can I get Fleshy Souls for Christmas? Like, I've seen, like, those kind of, like, posts online, how the name is going to sound really weird when, like, kids ask their parents for that kind of, like, how awkward that's going to be at, like, GameStop. It's like, hey, yeah, I want to pick up my copy of Fleshy Souls, and stuff like that. Point is, they just showed Japanese gameplay, which, of course, was nothing new to me, because I've already played the Japanese version. Still haven't beat it, but I've played that segment, so there was literally nothing new. The only thing that was good that came out of that entire Yokai Watch segment was the fact that Hino actually said that they were interested in bringing Busters over to the States. And I mean, like, you know, the full game, not the little game mode, of course, because that's part of Yokai Watch too. Like, you know, Yokai Watch Busters, you know, Red Cat, White Dog, and Moon Rabbit. He said they were interested in bringing those over to the States. So that of course means that yeah, Busters is coming in 2017. No questions asked. Which of course means Yokai Watch 3 is 2018, which I don't like that feeling at all, because it's like the 3DS is going to be dead in 2018. The Wii U is going to be dead by the end of the year. I mean, it's already dead now. Like, let's be real here. I like the Wii U. It has awesome games and everything. But the Wii U was declared dead at E3 2015 when they didn't have any new games to show off that were actually good. The only good game left from the Wii U that people are legitimately excited for, including me, is Zelda. And that's not even a Wii U exclusive. You can get it on NX with better graphics and resolution and all that stuff. So, yeah, the Wii U is basically dead. The last game that's coming out that's a true exclusive is Color Splash, and we all know that a lot of people aren't very keen on that game, especially because it's not, you know, the 1,000 Year Door 2 or something like that. I'm gonna buy Color Splash at a discount later on, obviously, but I think it'll be a decent game, but it's not like a system seller, especially at this point. Every time I'm like, if you want to get a Wii U, either get it at a deep discount, like $200. You can get it for $150, $200 in like Nintendo's online store, like used, which isn't actually that bad for a Wii U. But yeah, the Wii U is it's basically dead. Right now, Nintendo's just waiting. Like they want to get Zelda out and then move on to the NX, and the Wii U is going to be basically gone. Which is a shame, because the Wii U is only like 4 years old, which feels like both a long time and also a very short time, because how long has the Wii U been out? When the Wii U came out in 2012, I still watched Nickelodeon in Cartoon Network and shows like SpongeBob and the Fairly OddParents. Yeah, that's how long ago the Wii U came out. But it feels like starting in 2013, it feels like it feels like it hasn't been that long since like at least Smash Bros.'s announcement. Smash Bros. Was the #1 reason why I was like, you gotta buy a Wii U for Smash. You gotta buy a Wii U for Smash. And Splatoon got announced, but you gotta buy one for Splatoon as well. And then the second that at E3, and not even at Wada's original announcement, the second at E3 2015, man, when they just had Star Fox as like the only new game, and even then it didn't turn out to be all that good. It looked like a Xbox 360 game. I never played the final game, by the way, but I saw like the gameplay footage, and it's like, yeah, that looks like a 360 game. I mean, the Wii U is basically a 360 anyway, but it's like, come on, I've seen better. Like, Zelda looks way better than Star Fox, and that's running on the same console. Granted, Zelda's running at 30 FPS with no anti-aliasing, so maybe I should leave Star Fox alone. Okay, enough ranting about the Wii U. Let's or Nintendo in general, I guess at this point. Okay, what was I talking about? Zelda and yeah. So yeah, I was talking about Yokai Watch 2. So basically, yeah, Yokai Watch 2 wasn't impressed because I already have the game, and it didn't show any real English gameplay aside from those little snippets in the trailer. The rest of the stuff wasn't that interesting. I didn't really care about any of the other 3DS games because it's on 3DS, so I don't really care all that much. So yeah, that's really about it for Nintendo. Zelda was amazing, but that was really about it. Everything else was like, whatever. Zelda was good enough, though. Zelda was enough that I would say it was better than last year's E3 when it comes to Nintendo. Now let's talk about Microsoft, which was actually my favorite conference of the entire show, which I was expecting because I don't have a PS4 yet. Keyword is yet. I'll be getting one at some point for Ni no Kuni 2 whenever that comes out in the US in like 2017 or whatever. But at that point the Neo will be out, so of course we'll just get the Neo. Anyways, so let's talk about Xbox. What did they talk about? Now, most of it revolved around, they had new games like Dead Rising 4, which was leaked a little earlier, Gears of War 4, ReCore, Cuphead, games like that, the games you would expect them to show off. But they also had some newer games, and here's what's awesome, they introduced the Xbox Play Everywhere program, which is probably one of the coolest things I've seen Microsoft do in some time, which is basically, if you buy a game on Xbox, you get it on PC. If you buy a game on PC, you get it on Xbox. They kind of did this for Quantum Break a while ago, but that was if you pre-ordered, and even then you had to buy the Xbox One version, then you got the Windows 10 version. But with this, every single game they talked about at that conference was Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive. Every Forza Horizon 3, Gears of War 4, ReCore, Cuphead, all the games they talked about. I know there's way more than that, of course, but those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. All of those games were Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive, which means that basically they they basically made it so, like, they're really integrating Xbox with PC, especially with Windows 10 and everything. The Windows Store has not been very liked, but at least it's better than not getting the games at all. I've never played any of the, like, Quantum Break on PC or anything, so I don't know how broken or decent the ports are, but the Microsoft is getting better at doing PC ports, and they're just doing better with PC in general. And I think it's awesome that they're integrating Xbox with PC, because what I want someday is a day where I can play games on my PC, but play them against my friends on console, because I don't want to buy it on Xbox One if it runs worse, of course. So cross-play, yeah. By the way, every single game that was Xbox Play Everywhere, yeah, that's where you get it on like both consoles and everything like that. Also, save data, like the cloud and everything. So if you were like playing Gears of War 4 campaign, for example, and you like were all playing on PC, and then you went and played on Xbox One, your save data would transfer right over, so you would pick up right where you left off. That's going to be for every single Xbox Play Everywhere game. Forza Horizon 3 and ReCore have it, I think. Like all the ones I can remember do have that. The only downside about this entire program is the fact that, at least for a lot, because there's a lot of people out there that don't like Windows 10. I mean, I think Windows 10 is the best OS, the best Windows OS so far, at least for me. But there's a lot of people that don't really like Windows 10 because of all the privacy things, and they're just features that only work on Windows 7 or whatever. But for whatever reason, yeah, some people don't like Windows 10. They're kind of mad that, like, it's Xbox, it's coming to PC, but you have to have Windows 10. You can't just get it on Steam or whatever. Which is a little annoying, but Microsoft did say they're going to be putting more games on Steam in the future, which I'm assuming will mean bigger games. Although they're probably still going to, have that stuff be on the Windows Store for the foreseeable future. Point is, though, the Xbox Play Everywhere program is awesome, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. Because, basically, like Gears of War 4, for example, that's the first Xbox exclusive game I've really cared about in quite some time. That's, like, truly, like it's not, like, doesn't, like, first priority or anything. Like, it's not like a DLC or anything, like, an exclusive. I can play that game on my computer at higher settings and whatever. I could play it on PC. But I could play it with my friend who's playing on Xbox. So I can play it on PC and he can play it on Xbox and we can play together. That's what I really want. If they can get that for like Call of Duty or like just other multiplayer games like Battlefield, then I'd be set. I would never need to use the Xbox ever again. I could just play on PC and still play with my friends on Xbox. And Microsoft is slowly but surely making that a reality, at least for the first-party games. Hopefully they can get it for third parties at some point. As we all know, Rocket League is cross-play between Xbox One, PS4, and PC now, which is awesome. So, games are slowly starting to get that cross-compatibility thing. And in the future, there's a chance that even NX, with Nintendo Network, could get cross-play. Like, imagine, like, if that was actually a thing. Like, assuming that the NX is good, and it gets third-party games, and it gets all the support and everything like every other console. Imagine if you could play with your friends across NX, PS4, Xbox One, PC. How would that not be a good thing? I've seen people say that's a bad idea. How is that a bad idea? At least for the consoles, that's awesome. Now, I could see an argument for PC, because with PC, there's keyboard and mouse, which would give PC players an advantage. Which I could see, but how about just have, like, controller-only servers or something like that? Like, make it so, like, you have to have a controller in this server, or something like that. I'm sure they'll find a way to make that balanced, or they'll have it in separate playlists or something. They'll find a way to make it balanced and it'll work. But so far, yeah, the Xbox Play Everywhere thing, that's an awesome addition. Hopefully I'm definitely interested to see what they have. Also, Sea of Thieves, the next Rare game, that's coming out on PS4, not PS4, Windows 10 and Xbox One. It's also an Xbox Play Everywhere title, so that means, because I'm going to get that game, because it's a Rare game, and yeah, I can play on PC, but I can also play on Xbox. So it's like, they kind of got that versatility, which is pretty neat. Point is, Xbox Play Everywhere was definitely the highlight. Actually, no, it was almost the highlight. Up until the very end. And of course, okay, actually, no, let's talk about the beginning. Microsoft did two huge bombshells. One at the very beginning, one at the very end. Right at the beginning, Phil Spencer came up, talked a bit about Xbox, and then it was like, we have some new hardware or something like that, I think. I don't remember. I haven't seen the conference ever since it was originally shown back at E3. And here's like, Xbox One S, HDR, slimmer, 4K, all that stuff. Yeah, they showed the Xbox One S, which I really want, even though I know I don't need it, because it's just a slim model. And the current Xbox One is cool. Like, it's not loud. That's my biggest problem with the original 360, not the red ring of death or anything. It's the fact that it's too quiet. Like, I mean, it was too loud. And that's what bothered me, and I still want to get a slim for the 360 at some point, but, the original Xbox One might be a VCR in terms of size, but it's cool and it runs fine. It doesn't have the overheating and loud problems that the original 360 did, so there's not really a big reason for me to upgrade to the S aside from just wanting to save shelf space. Except for the fact that I heard that the Xbox One S actually has slightly better hardware in it. Not like super big leaps, which we'll get to in a second, but yeah, I'll wait for Digital Foundry to do their usual videos, and we'll see if Xbox One S really has any noticeable improvements in terms of frame rate. Then maybe I'll get an S, but I'd rather wait for the bigger console. And yeah, let's talk about that now. Okay, sorry for the abrupt cut right there, but as you can see on the screen, we ran out of gameplay. I don't have any other gameplay, so we're just going to put up this little screen right here, so yeah. I need to record more gameplay. Okay, so anyways, let's just continue talking. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about the big announcement, the one that I thought they weren't even going to do by the end of the event. And that's, of course, yeah, they start off with the Xbox One S, so of course at the very end, they ended with what we were all expecting, the Xbox Scorpio. Phil Spencer was talking about the evolution of Xbox as a community and all that stuff. And then he talked about going beyond generations. And he talked about how Xbox has evolved between the original, the 360, and the One. He was talking about how they want to continue with future technology and stuff like that. And then it was like, but that's only the beginning with the Xbox One S. He was like, and then he was like, and that's only the beginning. And then he was talking about going beyond generations, being able to run games at 4K and high fidelity VR. And then he rolled the trailer, where the developers from Fallout 4 and other Microsoft devs were talking this is the We Heard You console, how it's going to improve VR, it's going to be a very powerful system, and then of course there's that whole meme about the highest quality pixels. Yeah, got to have that high fidelity pixels. the best frame, I saw, I watched that, and I was sort of a little cringe, because it's we're going to have the best resolution, the best frame rate, the way they said that, I was like, well, they're trying to communicate to the regular audience, not the PC gamer, because obviously, PC gamers don't care about Xbox, especially with the entire Xbox Play Everywhere thing, where literally every single game on Xbox is on PC, which kind of defeats the purpose of Xbox for anyone that has a PC. But of course, there's still all the people that just want to play on consoles, so hey, even I'll play on consoles. Anyways, back to the Xbox One, the Xbox Scorpio. So yeah, they did that little reel thing, and they had the Scorpio thingy and the font or whatever, and it was going in the background. And at this moment, I was talking to my friend because HG Hydra's stream cut out, so I was just watching it by myself with someone else. And I was like, oh my god, it's Scorpio! You can see it in the letters! I was all freaking out and everything. It's the Scorpio! Microsoft did it! They won! And I was like, they won E3 because Sony's not gonna show off the Neo! Or something like that. I was screaming, yeah! Microsoft! Yeah! I was they screwed off the Scorpio. And then at the very end, they did that little fading thing, and it was Project Scorpio, the most powerful console ever, holiday 2017. And I was like, yes! Because I was like, yes, we're going to finally have an Xbox console that can run games at 1080p. Oh boy. Or at least main games at 1080p, not small games. Yeah, an Xbox. So yeah, basically, here's the layout. Xbox One is 1.3 teraflops. PS4 is 1.84 teraflops. PS4 Neo, I think, is 4 teraflops. And then Scorpio is 6 teraflops, so it is the most powerful console. What's hilarious is they're 4K gaming with no compromises. The GTX 1080 can't do that without compromises. Yeah, even the 1070 can already do pretty good. The 1070 can do 4K 30 maxed, but 4K 60, that's not happening on a console for at least another generation. They're getting there. They might get 4K 30 on the Scorpio, but why would you want 4K? Because here's the thing. most people don't have 4K TVs. They still have 1080p TVs, including me. So what I'd rather have is 1080p with higher settings with a better frame rate. It's like 1080-60 with higher settings than 4K 30 at like medium settings, if that makes any sense. Maybe they'll have an option to toggle that, but it's like I don't want them to sacrifice frame rate and visuals for the sake of being able to run it 4K when most people don't even have 4K TVs. And I rather now, granted, now this is where you could be like, well, that's what we have PCs for. If you want high fidelity everything, then just go PC. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have a PC with a GTX 1070 overclocked and all that stuff by the time that the Scorpio even comes out. And it's still, and my PC will still wipe the floor with the Scorpio in 4K performance. Even if the Scorpio can get 4K 30, it's going to be an unstable 30. Like, it'll be like GTA 5 unstable, or it's going to go down to the low 20s and stuff. Whereas, my computer will be able to do 4K, like, 30s to 40s at ultra settings, like, not medium, so it's like... Okay, enough bragging about how awesome PCs are and whatever. Point is, the Scorpio is not going to be as powerful as they're making it out to me in terms of, 4K. Like, 1080p 60, yeah, that'll be dirt easy. I mean, even the regular PS4 can do 1080p 30 most of the time. Sometimes 60. So, of course, comparing 1.84 teraflops to 6 teraflops or whatever, of course, it's gonna 1080-60 on the Scorpio will be a breeze, like it should have been from the beginning, Microsoft, because you thought that was a great idea putting the Kinect, and that's almost why I didn't buy one. I didn't buy one because I didn't like the thought of Battlefield 4 running at 720p, even though it's a lot better than the 360 version. Oh my god, you can see the resolution, at least on the TV I have. When I try the TV in the living room, it looks like 1080p. Like, you can't see the difference between 720 and 1080 on that TV. But on the TV I use, the one I use from a monitor, the difference between 720p, 900p, and 1080p is very noticeable, and it bothers the crap out of me, to be straight up honest there. So that's one of the reasons why I'm building a PC, so I don't have to worry about console limitations anymore. And on that note, let's talk about... the point is, yeah, Scorpio was announced. That was pretty awesome. A lot of people were lukewarm on it. Well, some people were. I mean, a lot of the PS4 fanboys that think Xbox sucks just because 720p, like whatever. Point is, aside from fanboys on all sides aside, but that means I'm talking about everything, because I've seen Nintendo, Sony, and PC players defile the Scorpio for numerous reasons. But at the end of the day, if you hate it, and you're clearly not going to buy it. So why complain about something you're not going to buy? You don't see me complaining about the PS4 because I have a Wii U or something like that. Like, you don't see, like, I'm not gonna complain about something like that. Like, what's the point? Arguing doesn't get you anywhere. Fanboys, man, I really hate fanboys. It almost makes me want to change the name of my, like, how I'm called Nintendo Act 8. I almost want to change my name on the internet, like my online name, just so that people won't call me a fanboy. Like, no one's really done that yet, but I have. It's like that feeling that people think. It's like I have that feeling where like people think they're judging you because of your gamer tag. That's what I'm worried about. And every single time, I mean every single time that I am playing on Xbox, and random person joins the chat, the first thing they say is, "Huh, you're playing on Xbox, but you're called Nintendo Act 8." The first thing they say every single time, even Spanish people have said that, and I know that's what they're saying, because Nintendo is said in English, so it's like, random Spanish words, then Nintendo out of nowhere, and then I hear Xbox somewhere in there, I'm like, yep, yeah, they're saying that. I mean, I don't listen, I don't do online chats. I mean, if I talk to anyone, it'll be like HG Hydra or one of my other friends, and that's it. I don't do, like, open lobbies or anything like that. Well, at least not open lobbies, like, I don't, like, do search and destroy, or anything, like, like Black Ops 2 or whatever. Okay, we're getting really off track here. Let's go back to freaking, yeah. Point is, yeah, I'm very tempted to change the name of my channel. I like the name Nintendo Act 8, but I feel like people judge me when I use that name. I don't like that feeling that people might judge me just because I'm called Nintendo Act 8. I'm not called like Xbox Sucks 28 or PC Master Race 5 or something like that. Like, I don't get why. Like, I'm not saying any other consoles suck. I own all of them. Well, I'm going to have all of them by the end of the year. I have an Xbox One. I have a almost have a gaming PC. And I'm going to be getting a PS4. and of course the NX. So I want to have all the consoles. I don't hate any of them, but it's just that feeling that you think that you're being judged because of your gamer tag. I almost want to change it, but at the end of the day, Nintendo is my favorite. But I don't want the fact that Nintendo is my favorite to make everyone else think that I hate all the other consoles. I don't. I have them. I have the other ones. I just have some of them. Okay, mini rant aside. Okay, we're getting really off track here. Let's head back to E3. Okay, yeah, that's all stuff from Microsoft that I really cared about. Sony. This was the biggest disappointment of the show that wasn't Yokai Watch 2. There's 3 things they didn't have. 1, they did not have Final Fantasy VII Remake. 2, they did not have gameplay of the new Crash Bandicoot remakes. I'll talk about that in a second. And 3, they did not have Ni no Kuni 2, which I was expecting to be there because Ni no Kuni is a Sony franchise at this point. I mean, it's level 5, which of course they made Yokai Watch and everything, but it's basically a PlayStation franchise. Kind of like, you know, how Final Fantasy is always thought of as a PlayStation franchise, even though it's on Xbox and Nintendo. But, you know, it's kind of thought of as a Sony franchise. That's kind of what Ni no Kuni is. Ni no Kuni is basically thought of as a Sony franchise, at least to me. And it didn't show it at all, which is weird. Now, I thought that the reason they weren't doing this is because they're going to wait for their World Vision event in July, which is what they're probably going to do. But, you know, it's kind of like, why no Ni no Kuni? Why not at least mention it? Why not at least say something about it? Okay, what did they show off that did interest me? Yeah, to be straight up honest with you, nothing really in their presentation really. The only thing I can say is that their God of War 4 demo looked amazing, and I'm still 100% certain that that was running on the Neo and not the PS4. But then Yoshida on Twitter was like, no, it ran on a standard PS4. That game looks too good to be running on the PS4. Granted, look at Uncharted 4, and also the fact that Zelda Wii U looks like it's running on much better hardware than it actually is on, so maybe I shouldn't be saying, oh, well, God of War 4 can't be running on a regular PS4. Whatever. I've seen all the Dad of War jokes or whatever. But yeah, so they had God of War, they officially announced that Crash Bandicoot is coming back for remakes and Skylanders, and of course everyone was like, screw Skylanders and everything like that. So, yeah. I don't care about Skylanders, and I don't think any of you do either. Point is, Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 is going to be getting remakes on PS4, which I'll probably get. I was always thinking about trying Crash, but I'd rather wait for the remakes. I'm not going to deal with a pixelated mess on the PS1. But yeah, so Crash Remakes was like the highlight of the show for me. Even though I have zero nostalgic value for Crash, those were hyped for some reason. They didn't show any gameplay of the remakes. They just showed the Skylanders thing. But they did say that they were on the way, like the remakes are on the way. Yeah, another random cutout because I got in there interruption. But anyways, yeah. So hopefully Naughty Dog is making the remakes because they made the franchise. They should be the ones making it. Activision's publishing it, of course, or Sony is, or whatever. Right? But I don't know who's making it. Point is, Crash remakes are coming. Aside from that, there was like nothing else. They showed Final Fantasy 15, don't care about that. They showed Resident Evil, don't care about that. They showed off PSVR, once again, don't care about that. They didn't have the ton. They didn't have like the killer lineup they had last year. Last year, they won E3 by leaps and bounds. Like The Last Guardian, Final Fantasy VII, Shenmue 3. They won last year. But this year, it was a huge disappointment compared to last year for me. Also, it felt like it was like a really short. It felt like a Nintendo Direct compared to an actual E3 conference. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like the conference was shorter than it really was. Now, if they show off the Neo, that would have probably helped, but they didn't show off the Neo because apparently they thought that was a bad idea. Because they didn't think that Xbox was going to show off the Scorpio. But they did, and now I'm sure they're like, oh wait, we have to show off the Neo, but we can't. So, whatever the case is, yeah, Sony was a disappointment. Overall, how do I rank which one I like the most? Microsoft first, Nintendo second, and Sony third. Overall, all three of them did pretty decent. Especially Microsoft and Nintendo. I thought they did pretty decently. Sony was a disappointment compared to last year, but it wasn't bad. It was just that none of the games really interested me as much as last year's. Hopefully, the PlayStation Experience event and Level 5 World Vision will get more info on the games I actually do care about, and I'll make videos on. So overall, what's my thoughts on this year's E3? I'm not gonna lie. This year's E3 didn't feel as exciting or as hyped up, and that's probably because of the fact that Nintendo didn't show off the NX. If Nintendo and Sony showed off their new consoles, and we had like a trifecta of the Scorpio, the Neo, and the NX, this could have been the biggest E3, or at least one of the biggest ones we've had in a while. But that didn't happen because Nintendo decided not to show off the NX, or have a digital event, or have a press conference at all. What's funny is, yesterday, yes, yesterday, Miyamoto said the reason why they didn't show off the NX at E3 was actually not because of the games. It was a different reason. Why didn't they show it off? Oh dang it, I forgot the reason why. They had a new reason why they didn't show it off at E3, but I don't remember what the reason was. Dang it. I don't remember! But he had a newer reason that made more sense, but I don't remember what it was. Point is, without the NX or the Neo at E3, it was a disappointment compared to last year. But at least Xbox had the Scorpio, and Nintendo's Zelda presentation was very solid. Xbox's presentation was very solid. PlayStation's was decent, in my opinion, but this wasn't as exciting as last year's. But, whatever. I mean, after all, if it's E3, realistically, we all win. That's the real thing. This whole, someone won thing, it really doesn't matter. We all say this company won just to say how big of an announcement it was. But realistically, if you are a Nintendo fan, a Microsoft fan, or a Sony fan, of which I am all three, we all won. I know they had some PC gaming stuff, and there's some stuff from like the Bethesda conference, but yeah. Oh yeah, and also Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, those are pretty neat. Actually, we had a live reaction. Well, for me, Amir, and Timmy. They're part of HG Hydra, by the way. But I don't know if we have the footage anymore. If we do, I'm going to see if we can get the Titanfall 2 reaction upload, because that was the only one where we actually freaked out. The rest of the events were like pretty calm. We didn't really freak out. But Titanfall 2, we were like, oh yes, this looks so awesome, and everything like that. Anyways, yeah. Hope you enjoyed this. Sorry if it was a bit unprofessional or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to be improving the quality of these videos over the future. Right now I'm using Movie Maker still, but I'm going to be getting new editing software and going to be using more programs. So this is just kind of a quick thing I wanted to get out there before it's irrelevant. So yeah, hope you enjoyed my discussion. Sorry it wasn't as good as I'd like it to be, but hey, it's better than nothing. Huh, meme. This is Nintendo Act 8 signing out.